In my previous video, I provided an update regarding some early indications of home buying demand, what could impact our housing market in the weeks and months ahead. I also provided an update regarding home prices in the US. So if you guys haven't checked out that video, go ahead and have a look at that, and I'll leave a link below for you guys as well. But in today's video, I actually want to provide some updates regarding pending home sales, housing inventory, price reductions, and of course, much more, according to the latest update from Redfin. It was actually just published today, which is the 29th of December here. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I have a lot to share. So this report here covers the 4 weeks ended December 25th this year. By the way, happy holidays for all of you guys watching this video here. So again, I already talked about home sold prices, again, only increasing by 0.7% compared to 1 year ago. Let's also talk about asking prices though, because those only increased by 3% year over year, the slowest growth rate since the start of this pandemic here. So have a look at this. These are asking prices nationwide. The averages nationwide only increasing by 3% compared to the same time period in 2021. The median asking price is at more or less $350,000. Going back to more or less June of this year, asking prices were at $397,000. So by my dumb math, that's a 12% decrease in asking prices compared to June of this year. And for comparison's sake, when looking at home sold prices compared to June of this year, home prices decreased by about 10%, but asking prices decreased by 12%. Also, when looking at average monthly housing payments based on the median asking price home, at the current 6.42% rate, and by the way, the current rate as of today is around 6.5%, not 6.42%, but very close. So when looking at average monthly housing payments, that actually decreased about $254 per month from the peak we had in October. This is because, of course, rates decreased from about 7.3% now down to about 6.5%. So average monthly housing payments had decreased about $254 compared to the peak of October. However, though, comparing to 1 year ago, payments are up by about 36.7%. And here's a chart showing just that. Average monthly housing payments increasing by 37%. Compared to 1 year ago, have been all over the place this year, which is this red line is 2022. This is because mortgage rates have been all over the place this year. Reached highs of around 7% or 7.3% at the end of October. And that's why we saw highs right here, but rates decreased in August. It went from about 6.3 to around 5% in August here. So that's why we're seeing this volatility in average monthly housing payments, whereas we didn't see that in 2021 or in 2020. But again, because payments have increased about 37% on a year-over-year basis, in my personal opinion, this is one reason why our housing market is slowing down big time due to a lack of housing affordability. I also have an update for you guys regarding pending home sales, because those are down 31.8% on a year-over-year basis, one of the largest declines since at least 2015 as far back as the data goes. Also, if you guys missed my previous video I posted maybe 3 days ago, according to the National Association of Realtors regarding pending home sales, the current levels right now, or at least for the end of November, are at the lowest levels on record when excluding April 2020. On top of that, the year-over-year decrease in pending home sales in November compared to November 2021 is also the biggest decline on record, according to data from the National Association of Realtors. And by the way, if you guys follow the channel, you guys all know that I tend to see how this number does not agree to their data center's website here. And I actually found out something new today, because when they're talking about pending home sales, these are listing updates when a house is being listed for sale and when they accept an offer from a home buyer. That's going from an active status to a pending home sale status. So actually tracking the number of listing updates and not the total number of pending home sales. So as far as new listing updates regarding going from active to pending status, that actually decreased 31.8%, which actually does agree to the article right here. So my bad on that regarding this discrepancy that I've been mentioning on the channel for a couple of weeks now. This is really from listing updates and not the total number of pending home sales in the US. So anyways, at 31.8%, that huge decrease compared to 1 year ago. We have far fewer pending home sale statuses compared to 2019 as well as 2020 as well. And because we're seeing this huge decrease of pending home sales down by about 32% on a year-over-year basis, this is actually going to be impacting closed home sales in January next year. And speaking of closed home sales right now, those are down 33.1% compared to the same time frame in 2021. There's approximately 61,619 closed home sales for the 4 weeks ended December 25th, which is below 2019 as well as 2020 as well. So for example, when looking at closed home sales this year compared to 2019, there's a difference of about 10,000 houses. There was approximately 10,000 houses that sold, or $10,000 more houses that sold in 2019 this time versus right now. And going back to Redfin's update here, they also talk about the 50 most populous US metros in which pending home sales fell the most compared to 1 year ago. Number one spot was actually in Las Vegas, pendings decreasing by 62.7% on a year-over-year basis here. Austin, Texas, tanking as well at 57%. Phoenix, Arizona, also decreasing by 57%. Jacksonville, Florida, also decreasing by about 56%. And Portland, Oregon, decreasing by 52.2%. In regards to new listings, those decreased by 21.6% from a year ago, one of the largest declines since the start of this pandemic here. And that's this chart right here. New listings down by 21.6%. It's also an important note here, we have fewer new listings right now compared to 2019 as well as 2020 as well. Approximately 45,000 houses that were listed for sale over the last 4 weeks. Back in 2019 this time, there's approximately 51,000. So what appears to be happening right now is that a lot of people are not listing their houses for sale because they have historically low rates. The last time I read a data on this was back in October based on a report from Black Knight. And Black Knight reported that approximately 90% of all people who have first mortgages on their houses have rates below 5% right now. Again, rates are about 6.5%. Approximately 90% have rates below 5% right now. And that's why we're seeing a huge decrease of new listings because a lot of people do not want to give up their historically low rates. What's going to be really interesting to see though is what happens this spring though, because are we going to see a huge uptick in new listings like we do every year? Or are we going to continue to see a huge decrease of new listings? Time will tell. In regards to new listings decreasing by about 22% on a year-over-year basis, this is pretty remarkable because active listings have actually been increasing despite the fact we've been seeing fewer new listings hitting the market by double digits. Active listings have increased by about 18% on a year-over-year basis. Let's also talk about the month supply right now, which of course is a measure of the balance between supply and demand. That's calculated by dividing the number of active listings or housing supply by the number of closed home sales. So the month supply as of right now for the 4 weeks ended December 25th is 3.3 months, down from 1 week ago, but up from 1.8 months 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, the month supply was only 1.8 months. Now it's 3.3 months. Also have a look at this because I want to share how this compares to 2019. And by the way, on Redfin's website here, their data center, they're actually looking at the week supply. So right now there's approximately 13.4 weeks of housing supply, which again is about 3.3 months. This is very close to 2019's levels because back in the end of December in 2019, the week supply was 15.3 weeks. In other words, the month supply back in 2019 this time was approximately 3.8 months. Now it's 3.3 months. And going back to Redfin's report here, approximately 28% of houses that went under contract, in other words, the home seller accepted an offer from a home buyer, had an accepted offer within the first 2 weeks on the market. So approximately 28% of houses under contract right now went under contract within the first 2 weeks of the house being listed for sale. This is down from 35% from one year ago. It's also the lowest share since January of 2020 at 28%. And here's a chart showing just that. Approximately 28% of all pending home sales went under contract within the first 2 weeks of hitting the market, at 27.7% to be exact. 1 year ago, that share was about 35%. Also at 27.7%, this is the lowest levels since approximately January of 2020. Let's also have a look at how fast or how slow houses are selling across the United States here. So this is based on days on the market. So the median days in the market is at 40 days right now. This means it's taking approximately 10 days longer to sell a house compared to the same time frame in 2021. Days in the market is at 40 days. Also, this is actually higher than 2020 as well, because back in this time in 2020, days in the market was approximately 36 days. Also at 40 days right now, days in the market has doubled ever since more or less July of this year, when days in the market was only 20 days. Here's also a look at how often houses are selling over the seller's final list price. So approximately 23% of the time, houses sold above the seller's final list price. This means, in contrast though, this means that approximately 77% of the houses that sold at or below the seller's final list price. So in other words, the vast majority of the houses that sold actually sold at or below the seller's final list price at 77%. Also at 23% right now, this is well below last year's levels at approximately 40% selling above the seller's asking price on average. And speaking of houses selling for less than the seller's asking price, let me give you guys an update regarding the share of reduced price listings according to altosresearch.com. So the share of price drops right now is at 40%. This means approximately 4 of every 10 houses listed for sale right now have already reduced their asking price. At 40% though, this actually been decreasing though, because the peak was more or less right here, which is the middle of November, when the share was about 43%. So the levels we have right now at approximately 40% is on par with levels we saw back in early September, when the share was also 40%. However, though, comparing current levels right now at 40%, this is still well above past year's levels or previous year's levels. At 40% right now, 1 year ago, it was about 25%, and 2 years ago, it was approximately 24%. And pre-COVID, during the early parts of January 2020, the share was about 30%. I also want to share the average sale price to final list price ratio. I emphasize final because this actually excludes any price reductions here. So here's the average sale price to list price ratio, and that ratio is approximately 98%, meaning houses on average sold for about 2% less than the seller's final list price. More or less on par with 2019's levels, but well below 2020 as well as 2021. Back in 2021, houses were selling for about the seller's asking price. But compare this to the spring months this year, houses on average were selling for about 3% over the seller's asking price, and now they're selling for about 2% below. And with that said, please comment below your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.